Right. You are live. We are live.
Hello.
Hey, we made it. Welcome everyone to Loft's Hacktoberfest Kickoff Livestream with Tim from DigitalOcean. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Yeah, it's super exciting to have you here since you're with DigitalOcean, and October is Hacktoberfest month, which we're all super excited about. Just really quickly, just to introduce myself, my name is Lian. I'm a developer advocate with Loft Labs. And Tim, how about you introduce yourself?
Cool. Yep. Hi, I'm Tim. I'm a senior developer advocate at DigitalOcean. As Leanne said, I am currently in Oslo in a hotel room because I was attending DevOps Days. But I am so excited about Hacktoberfest that I obviously wanted to get on this live stream with Leanne because I've worked with Leanne before and she's amazing.
Awesome. Yes, I am also in a hotel room for DevOps Days. This is so funny
Yeah.
that DevOps Days Eindhoven and DevOps Days Oslo are on the
Yeah.
exact same days.
Yeah.
And we're literally both sitting in a hotel room at the end of day 2, like, okay, let's do the stream and then go to the, I don't know, do you have an after party? Are you going to have dinner with some people?
Could be, maybe. I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Okay, cool. There's definitely going to be karaoke on our end. So
whatever
you
Leanne is,
better bring your A game.
karaoke. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not even trying for it. At this point, it's just people come up to me and like, where's the karaoke? Chill, man. I don't know. Okay, cool. So
Hacktoberfest.
Tim, yes, Hacktoberfest. We can talk about karaoke later. So for those who don't know about Hacktoberfest, do you want to give us like a short overview or longer overview if you want? Take all the time. We have a lot of time. What exactly Hacktoberfest is, and also why it's so important for open source.
Sure. So Hacktoberfest is DigitalOcean's, but nowadays not just DigitalOcean's annual celebration of open source. And in fact, this year is our 10th year of doing this. So it's been going on for 10 years, pre-me with DigitalOcean, pre-me in tech, actually. So it's been going on for a fair amount of time. And it's there to help and enable people who want to start helping out in open source by creating PRs and helping projects that they're keen on and help them out with PRs. So a bit of history, a history lesson. As I said, Hacktoberfest has been going on for about 10 years now, for 10 years. This is our 10th one. And the very first one had 676 participants, so projects, and there were about 50,000 valid contributions. The last number I have is from 2019, so 4 years ago. And that had, I think I do have some numbers of participants this year, but in 2019, there were 131,000 participants, so projects, and almost 500,000 contributions. So the Hacktoberfest has grown exponentially. This year, I think we've over 150,000 registered participants. Last year, we also introduced the low or no code submissions and have put some stricter rules on spamming because, engineers will always find a way to hack the system. But it's at the end of the day, it's for people to get into open source. And I've heard a lot of stories of how engineers and software developers have started their career just by pushing that first PR during Hacktoberfest.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's what it is. It's helping the community and getting people into open source a lot more. I can go into how people can do that if you want.
Yes,
yeah.
with a short interlude, and then please go into.
Sure.
I'm interested if you know how it started, like who had the idea first and under what circumstances.
I don't know this, and I should have researched a lot better, probably. I think it started well. So DigitalOcean has always been known as the developers cloud.
Mhm.
And we've always been quite intrigued about helping how to get people into open source and getting into producing that first PR, putting code
Mhm.
into version control. And I think it was very much a span of the moment. How can we make this an event and get not only DigitalOcean but the whole communities and other projects involved. But maybe that's one for me to take back and ask the people at DigitalOcean.
For the next live stream, you will know.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, so I really like, when you said that some people started their career with Hacktoberfest. I mean, I think when I started my career, there was no Hacktoberfest, but I definitely also, I think it really kicked off with open source and the open source community. I think that, and I see that today also, because now there are a lot of people wanting to get into tech. And I see that a lot of times the recommendation is, why don't you just get involved with open source? Because there's enough work to do, and you can practice, working on a project with other people who work at completely different companies, and just like build your network and everything. So it seems like open source is just kind of like, it's just the perfect thing, like it's just like how you can kickstart your career and everything's great. Is that how you see open source?
Not only, no, obviously no. I think open source is great because there's a community behind it. You meet people online, and then 3-4 years down the line, you might actually meet them in person. But it's more than just getting a job. There are stories, and we have somebody who was actually working at DigitalOcean who started off by contributing to open source, and then they got reached out to because they saw what they were doing it during open source. But for people who want to get into tech, it is a good stepping stone. Now, I like how, I definitely suggest people getting involved into open source. And I think for myself and you, Leanne, probably now that we're veterans in this industry, I'm not a veteran.
We are the old ones, though. We
Yeah,
are.
we might seem, it's an obvious thing to do, to create a PR and push it to code and to a project. But for people who are brand new, it might be a bit scary and weary of,
Mhm.
I'm pushing codes to a project which everybody
Yeah.
uses. And
Yeah.
Hacktoberfest is lowering that bar. It's making sure that people feel comfortable to start pushing code into a repository.
Yeah, that's great. I remember my very first time doing any kind of open source contribution. I was at a conference. I think it was Node.js Interactive in Vancouver, and they had one day that was just open source contribution day or something. So they had a lot of different workshops, and I was in the Node.js group. I was like, oh, F word, I'm actually going to contribute to the Node.js core. How
Yeah.
many things will I break? In the end, I just wrote some tests so that it wasn't that bad. But it was really like, oh my God, I'm doing something that feels like it has much more impact than whatever product I was working on at the time. And that was
Yeah.
really next level.
Interesting. Yeah. I think everybody has their story of their first open source submission. Everybody has that. Oh, I'm going to really mess it up and I'm going to break production and people all over the world are going to hate me. And then you push it and it all goes fine. Everybody who has the story, me included, has that.
What's your
Oh,
story?
it's
Tell
so.
us your story.
Well, okay. So the first one I created was I'm a bit of a home automation nut, and I wanted to do something on my smart TV which I couldn't do with Home Assistant. So Home Assistant is an open source project for home automation, extremely big, great community. And there was something which I couldn't do with it on my smartphone. I could have done it with my remote, but I wanted to do it on my smartphone because obviously I'm a geek and that's what I wanted to do. But I couldn't do it because there wasn't that functionality. So that was the first PR, and it took a while to actually click the submit button. I actually tested non-stop before I pushed that PR button, because similar to everybody else, I was like, I'm going to break everybody's TV in the world.
Right.
Obviously, I do not have that power. Not even close to happening. But it was exciting because once you push it, as you said, you pushed it like, oh my God, I'm going to actually contribute to this massive project. And
Yeah.
it feels an accomplishment. There is something really happy in that story.
For sure. And now you're getting like these nice badges on GitHub as well if you contribute to like an open source project. I know that there were, because you were mentioning like that you took steps to reduce spam, and we're going to get into like all of that later. But I remember, I think I once created a pull request in like Linux core or something that was literally just removing a training white space. But I was like, you know what? It's a contribution, and it will look great on my profile if it says that I contributed. Well, the pull request just got closed. It never was merged, so it didn't work then. It doesn't work now, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, so exactly. So if I go to the webpage, so hacktoberfest.com is your site to go to for anything Hacktoberfest related. You'll find history, you'll find a link to our Discord server. So if you have any questions, feel free to jump into Discord. A lot of resources on how to participate. If you want to create an event, there's an event kit as well, and more. And there's also the participation page. So obviously the participation page has our values, where we basically say everybody's welcome. Quality is key. So yeah, the white space PR is I don't know how much quality that was providing. So the quantity is fun, yes, but we want you to provide quality to it, and again, long-term impact. So this is helping the community at the end of the day, plus also helping yourself. Now, does every PR have to be code related? Definitely not. There are actually PRs where issues where you can, improve on documentation, and documentation is extremely important. I love that fact that these now also contribute towards your Hacktoberfest badges, because documentation is very important. And open source projects rely on participants to help them create better documentation, create more welcoming documentation as well. So definitely it doesn't just have to be code. Apart from that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's a good point that you made, because I think that also shows like what do you value, right? Like, as you say, like low code contributions are just as important, sometimes maybe more important, and it's nice to see that gets more. A lot of people call it emotional labor, like that kind of unsexy work that just needs to be done. That gets more eyeballs on it, like it's highlighted more and gets a little bit more acknowledgement.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there is, as I said, probably over 150,000 projects which anybody could participate in, and there are links within the webpage to look at all the projects, both in GitHub and GitLab, where you can choose where to contribute. And then once you decide which project to go into, you look into the issues section of that project, and they'll have tags which could either say Hacktoberfest or Good First issue, where they're basically telling the attendees, the community, if you've never done this before, this is an easy one to go to, and we can help you out. And there's usually contribution guidelines, so on and so forth.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else you need to know when you want to participate? Anything you need to know about eligibility or something? Obviously, you can't, if you are working on like an open source, if you're already a maintainer of an open source project, I'm guessing your pull requests don't count.
So if you're a well, okay, so we do analyze the so we check what kind of pull requests are. If you are a maintainer and we deem that the issue is viable for the Hacktoberfest grouping, yeah, you can go there, but it goes a bit against the value of Hacktoberfest and the whole ethos of Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest is about helping people come into open source. If you're a maintainer and you're already in open source, you're trying to cheat the system there a little bit, and you're making
Yeah.
a disservice to yourself and to your own project, because at the end of the day, you want people to come and help you remove a little bit of that load of maintaining that
that is
project.
true. That's true.
So if you're going to take the issues of people who try and help you, you're making the service to yourself as well. You're shooting yourself a little bit in the foot there. So yeah, so don't do that. But we do have checks. We do have checks for spamming. We've had checks for people trying to game the system, and we try to catch them as early as possible.
So to take part, you need to register on the hacktoberfest.com page, and you need to contribute a pull request. Or is an issue also okay? Or does it have to be a pull or a merge request?
You need to so you need to register, as we said. Find a project which you are keen on helping out, and usually you can find issues which require a pull request or merge request, and then create that merge request. And usually there are steps of how you can do this if you're brand new to it. And then the maintainer needs to accept that merge request to count towards your total of Hacktoberfest issues and submissions. And then we count that, and the first 50,000 accepted PRs will get a tree planted in the name from Tree Nation, which I think is great because it helps the environment, and we definitely want to increase. And especially after this year and how the weather has been acting up, even more so, it's important to ensure that we take care of our planet. So that's one way we can do this. And you also get these cool digital badges, which are amazing. They're specific to Hacktoberfest, created by Hoplin. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. And they're really cool. You can customize them. Some of them you can customize. And it's a badge of honor. Look at me. I contributed to open source. The other thing I want to say, though, is Hacktoberfest, fair enough, is only a month. But if you do get involved, keep on going over October as well. Don't just stop there. Keep on contributing. Hacktoberfest is your first step, and then you keep on going and growing with the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think generally contributing to open source is a badge of honor, right? Like if people know that you are a contributor, both maybe for a specific project, or you're just someone who just contributes a lot in the ecosystem, that can help you with your career, networking, with smaller projects that you're trying to set up. So yeah, for sure. It's I guess Hacktoberfest is more getting it's a gateway drug to open source.
Yeah, exactly. And it is as you said, and even I, we are, after our first pull request, we were like, oh my god, I did it. There's that buzz to it. Contributing to open source, definitely there is that buzz to it.
Yeah. And also, I guess, also for Hacktoberfest, because you're asking for projects to opt in, they are also excited and ready and want you to contribute. Because there are projects out there that don't have a lot of maintainers, and sometimes it can take a long time for them to get around to your pull request and everything. And it does get kind of frustrating sometimes. Totally feel that. But in this case, if you see that a repository is tagged with Hacktoberfest, you know that they really want you to contribute, and they will take a look at your pull request before the month runs out. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. And there are ways and means, if maintainers do get inundated, there are ways and means for us to still accept that PR even if it's not merged. So maintainers can actually say
Mm.
Hacktoberfest accepted. That's showing
Nice.
us, look, we accept this PR, but we're inundated with so many PRs currently, we cannot accept everything. So be aware that there are ways and means for us. The main thing is for us to you is that you get involved.
Hmm. So the last point here on your slide with the that the 4 pull requests are accepted. So accepted doesn't mean, or like just accepted in general, it doesn't mean that it's merged. It just means that a maintainer has looked at it and maybe labeled it with the Hacktoberfest accepted tag.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of the times they will be merged because at the end of the day, the maintainers want that code to go into the main and be out there. But if it has the accepted tag, Hacktoberfest accepted tag, we'll count that towards your 4 pull requests.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Right. Anything else you want to add to how to get involved with Hacktoberfest?
Ask questions, get involved, find a project. I know Loft.
We do this stuff. I'm gonna get to that also in a
Yeah.
moment.
So yeah.
Do you also highlight events that you're doing? I remember like last year or the year before, I was part of like a Hacktoberfest event with Microsoft, I think. Can't remember anymore. But I know there have been a lot of these kinds of things, or like even workshops.
So around the world, there will be events going on.
Hmm.
People can create their own events, and we can support
Mm.
them with event kits. There are a few in India I know that are going on currently. There are some official events as well. So on the
Ah,
16th, I'm giving one. So you can register for some virtual events. There's a satellite session on the 26th where we talk about AI and how that is being done in open source. So on the 16th, I'm giving one on, the very basics of Hacktoberfest and the very basics of starting and creating that PR.
nice. Okay, so again, go to hacktoberfest.com to see the official events that are ongoing where you can hack with other people together. I think that's also something that why hackathons are so popular. It's like it's just so much more fun to do it with other people. If you get
Yeah.
stuck, yes, there's a reason why people go to the office still.
Yeah,
Because you can
and
talk to other people.
even our Discord channel. So our Discord channel server will have people advertising their events. So they'll have some events, and they'll want to advertise on our Discord channel.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you so much. And I just want to say to the viewers that if you have any questions that you would like to ask Tim or myself, you can just comment them, write them into the chat, and I will pass them on. All right. Okay, so just as a segue, do you mind if I just talk a little bit about what we're doing at Love for Hacktoberfest? I mean, it
Of
doesn't matter
course.
if you mind or not. I'm still gonna do it.
And I know you have a great project, so I'd love to hear more about it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so we have a bunch of projects. We actually maintain I think 5 different open source projects, which does also get a little bit it gets much. We don't have one developer per project, but like a lot of developers do a little bit of everything. So we definitely could need your help. There is this blog post that my colleague Richard wrote a couple of days ago about all the stuff that's going on at Loft for Hacktoberfest. So we're doing the stream. This is the thing that's happening right now. We have, like, our engineers have worked day and night I should just click on here, to label and improve our issues. So you can either look for the good first issue label, or you go through the blog post, for example. And then yeah, we tried our best to really like make sure that these are well documented. All the information is here. And oh, see, there is already someone who wanted to have this assigned to them. So this one you probably can't do anymore because it's assigned to someone. So look for issues that are not assigned. If there's someone assigned, but you feel like there has been no action on it for a longer time, at least reach out to them. So in this case, yeah, so this was like last activity was August 15th. So at least ping the two of them and see if you get an answer. If you don't get an answer within a couple of days, I think it's okay for you to take over, because it's kind of should be expected that it's not going to happen anytime soon. But also it's good to just check in with people who were involved, who maybe left comments here, because you want the most amount of information and context that you can, right? And we want to avoid duplication of work. So as a just general rule for open source, it's like get in touch with the people who've already talked about this issue. Right, and then this was for vCluster. We have much more good first issues for dev pod. I think that's also because, like, with vClusters, very specifically, you have to have a lot of specific knowledge on Kubernetes. Probably need to be pretty good at Go as well. Where with dev pod, there are a lot more moving parts that are probably, and I say that as someone who has not contributed any code to these projects, but I think they're probably a bit more straightforward to get into, where you don't need a lot of pre-knowledge. So these are the two projects that we are actively looking for contributors for. We do have other projects that are less well known. One of the projects we actually donated to the CNCF, so this wouldn't even be right to call it our projects. But if you want to contribute to them, please do so. It's just that they're not labeled with Hacktoberfest, so you won't get any cool stuff if you contribute to them, besides the, the feeling, the warm feeling in your heart that you contributed to open source, which is always great. If you want to get through how exactly should I do that, refer to this blog post, or also every single repository also has a contribute README. So make sure to read that first before you create a pull request and then assign it to someone. Just make sure that you have all the steps right, and that you have the right people also, that you have contacted the right people. Now, to the really cool part, we actually do still send out swag and want to send out some cool prizes for people who contributed. So we will give out for merge pull requests a t-shirt of the project that you contributed to. If you have 2 merge PRs, then we will provide you with a very nice mechanical keyboard. And with 4 or more merge PRs, you get a Loft swag box. And these swag boxes are really nice. There's you get a backpack and a water bottle and t-shirts and stickers and a hoodie. And those are really good hoodies. They're like the North Face. They're top-notch quality. And the backpacks are also super nice. So we're okay. I was gonna say, we're not super sustainable in this sense, because we're definitely gonna ship them out to people. They are limited quantity, so we don't have 100,000 t-shirts to give out to people. So just be aware that it could happen. It could theoretically happen that we won't have anything on stock to ship to you. Just be aware of that. But I guess it's gonna be. I don't expect there's gonna be a lot of people who have 4 or more pull requests. If you have a question about any pull request, or need any help with contributing, join our Slack. It's slack.loft.sh. Again, it's linked in this blog post as well. And the maintainers are on that Slack. I'm on that Slack. Ritik is on that Slack. So if you have any questions, ask them there. You might get other people to help you with that, other users, which would be great. Or one of our maintainers will help you out, or I will kick our maintainers to help you out. Whew, okay, that was a long one. All right, just checking if we have any questions. None so far. All right. So Tim, what's I'm just letting you know that you're muted. What is your favorite part of Hacktoberfest? What are you most looking forward to?
I think it's the comments on social media. like the excitement of that first pull request and how excited people get that their first pull request is being accepted. Seeing how much, because you think that after 10 years, because this is always what fascinates me as well. You think after 10 years of Hacktoberfest, how many new more people are going to come in and do Hacktoberfest, but they just keep on growing. So year on
How many
year,
people can there be?
and that's what interesting. It's really interesting that people just keep on growing and getting into it. So those very first, the new people who get excited about that first pull request and seeing how they react, and emotion. I think that's always fun. That's always fun
That
to see.
must be like why you do those workshops, I guess, because that must be super exciting then.
Yeah. So again, the workshop I'm doing on the 16th, for example, going back to basics, understanding how helping people out to get that first pull request, understand Git, and get them involved in open source. Major League Hacking is another company that we work with a lot, and they help a lot of people get into coding. But yeah, that's to me is mostly those first people, pushing them to get that over the I'm gonna break something barrier, which
Right.
everybody has.
Yeah.
Everybody has.
Even if you're like an experienced
Yeah, as well.
engineer,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, and this is like for maybe people who have not been in tech that long, but like mistakes happen to the most like the stupidest mistakes also. Like the absolute like, oh, I was just connected to the wrong cluster. I was actually not connected to the like production cluster, something that happens all the time. So
Yeah,
don't be
definitely.
afraid of making mistakes.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I want to highlight this super nice comment that Jason sent us on LinkedIn. It's like, feel like the
Yes.
lack of questions might be due to how well you two did explaining how to navigate all the Hacktoberfest resources.
Thanks a
Thank you,
lot.
Jason.
That's really nice. Yeah, I cannot say anything about that because that's really nice.
Exactly.
Apart
That's
from how
really
nice
sweet.
it is. Thanks a lot, Jason.
Yeah, thanks. I hope you're already contributing or are planning to contribute now that you know all of the things that you can do. And again, like also like documentation, because I feel like also if I look at our own docs, like there's a lot of things that we can improve always. I've never seen documentation where I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. You don't have to work on it anymore. Excellent. So even if it's I like now that I'm on the other end of on the other side of it, where I am desperate for people to tell me what's wrong so I can improve the docs and I can improve guides and tutorials maybe. Okay,
And
now
I
I've
think
forgotten.
it's great that now
Yeah.
documentation is also part of Hacktoberfest because it shows
Mhm.
how much documentation is important. At the end of the day, when people start using your product, the first thing they're going to look at is your documentation. They don't look at the code. Well, at least
Yeah.
I don't think they look. They don't look at the code. They'll look at documentation, and the ease of documentation means more people are going to use your product, or try and use your product. And
Yeah.
documentation can be difficult. So
Yeah.
the fact that also contributes to Oktoberfest, I'm really excited about that.
I can
Yeah,
see that. I can
yeah,
see that.
because it's also because I really don't like doing documentation. So if somebody else can do it for me, I'm cheating. I know, but it's actually quite nice. I was talking to another company yesterday, and part of their Hacktoberfest issues are also changing how the documentation is worded by making it more inclusive.
Mm.
And I think that's great. It's not just, making it better in explaining how to do it, but also making it more inclusive by saying, instead of saying, it's very simple to do this, remove that.
Mm.
What do you mean? Well, it might be simple for me, but not for somebody else who's just new to the project.
Yeah.
And I think that's just great.
Yeah, definitely. Like making docs beginner friendly, where you're not, oh, just like snoofle the Flardenbloom or something, and you're like, what are you even talking? There's so many projects out there where to just get started with it, I have to like spend hours on research
Yeah.
on 0.0 or something.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
It would
definitely.
be yeah. I think my favorite docs for a long time was the MDN, like the docs for JavaScript. They were so good.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened to I think there was something about the team was fired or something. That's really sad. Like I think that was the gold standard for me for docs for a long time. And then kind of the team was let go or something. Like that was such a smack in the face of like exactly what you're saying, to show the value that documentation provides and how important it is, and how much it also, like, what a difference it makes in like adoption, like how
Yes,
successful a project
definitely.
is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I also hear that I hear you on the I don't like to do it, because I also generally don't like to do it. But then I feel like if you're in the mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna think about how does, if if I didn't know everything about this already, what would be my starting point? How would I get into this?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like tools that are maybe a bit opinionated, where once you understand the principle of it, then it's fine. Then it's fairly straightforward, and like then you can use the reference. You maybe don't need like docs, but like the reference is enough. But this kind of like understanding how it works, I feel like I think it's lacking in a lot of docs, especially for open source projects, especially for like very niche things, very specific things,
Yeah.
where it's like, well, I need to understand it first. You need to understand it first to know what you don't know.
Yeah.
If
And I
that
think
makes sense.
so maintainers creating documentation, because they've spent so much time in the code, creating that code, the docs, they'll glance over some of the more obvious steps, which they think is obvious.
Right.
But obviously, somebody who hasn't spent the last 40 days creating the code, the last 2 years creating the code, might not know. And also having different, points of view, coming in and telling them, hey, this documentation is not 100% clear to me. Could we reword it? So, yeah.
So what's a good effort to make to get more technical writers to join Hacktoberfest?
So one thing we did was make sure that no code or low code PRs are actually counted towards Hacktoberfest. That wasn't the case before, but we've done that now, and it is. And I really enjoy the fact that actually maintainers loved that and are actually using that. What else? Again, I think it's also lowering the barrier for people who are not fully confident with creating PRs. Even just the process of creating a PR to somebody completely new is a bit daunting. So saying, okay, don't forget about the code, just focus on creating a PR. So that means creating a PR for documentation, which is lowering the bar on people who are maybe not as experienced developers, but still want to participate. So hopefully that helps as well. And I also get used to the fact that documentation is important.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like just normalizing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. I mean, honestly, I feel like we covered so much. I don't even know what else to talk about. There's Tim and I, we've known each other for a while. We worked in the same company for about a week before
I
left.
joined the company and then she left. I don't know if that was a real
Yeah.
thing.
We had one meeting. I was like, oh, fuck this. Oh, I'm sorry. No, but we do, talk a lot about everything, but I feel like we need to be sure that we're scoped to this topic. Otherwise, it's gonna really escalate to something.
I think, yeah. So apart from the seasoned veterans, which are also welcome to Hacktoberfest, to me the focus also is on the new people, and ask questions. Ping me or Leanne or get on the Discord channel, and ask questions. Don't be afraid. No, this is what it's all about: asking questions and the community helping. I do this. I enjoy doing this job because I enjoy helping people. Because I also learn from that. I also learn from them. Sometimes they ask me a question. I was like, "Oh, I never thought about this."
Oh yeah.
So definitely, ping us. Both me and Leanne, we are there to help. At least I definitely am there to help. I know Leanne is
Oh
as well.
wow.
I know
Oh wow.
Leanne is.
Thanks.
I know Leanne is as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, don't be
absolutely.
afraid. Just ask questions.
I think that's such a good point that it is daunting, especially if you get into like a new group of like people who are maybe famous, like maybe you're like, oh my God, this is like that person that I've been following forever. But in the end, it really is about community and helping each other out. And that I think that's also the whole point of open source is to build something together, which my personal philosophy is the more people you work on something like diversity, the better it is, because you have more eyes on it, you have more perspectives on it, you have more people who might be able to say, actually, this might be a bad idea, because I have had this experience and then it turned out to be like terrible. So like that, it can only be better. Like more people can only help, but it's a lot to orchestrate. It's a lot to manage, and I think that's something that where a lot of open source projects kind of like the consistency of keeping people engaged or getting new people onboarded is probably the biggest struggle that I see with open source projects. So even that could be something. You're not going to get a participation trophy at Hacktoberfest, but if you're interested in contributing to open source, even just being part of the project, helping, organizing, like project meetings or something, that is also super helpful. Like there's a lot of stuff that needs doing. Chopping wood, carrying water. It's always something that communities need. So it's a great way to. Like, I sound like a recruiter now, but it is a great way to get into the industry and like make connections and find the right find people that you want to work with.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, get involved. Create that first PR. Feel the buzz. Feel the fear. You're gonna feel that fear.
Feel the burn.
Literally everybody I've talked to, and every time they've talked about their first PR, it goes fear, did it, smile on their face, feeling like a super person, and I think we've all went through that. So
Yeah,
yeah, just go for it.
yeah. And then maybe next year you can help someone else.
Exactly.
Their
Exactly.
first PR. This is like one of the most satisfying things I feel. It's like someone comes to you, they think maybe they like the most satisfying thing to me is always when people think they can't do something and then they manage it. And like that joy is like one of the best things, I think.
Definitely. Cool.
All right. Yeah, I think we can end it on this. So wait, I'm gonna put this up again. So hacktoberfest.com, right? This is where you can get all the information on how to participate and everything. And then if you go to love.sh, let me scroll up to our blog and find this blog post celebrating the spirit of Hacktoberfest at Loft, you will also get all the information that you need to help us in our project. Okay, so I
Great,
just
great,
want to
great.
highlight that
Yeah,
I
great
know
Johnny Trouble. But again,
Johnny Trouble. Johnny
Jason, thanks
Trouble
again. Yeah.
ate a whole pizza today. Didn't think they could, but did. You know what? I applaud you, Johnny. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
I'm proud of
Just
you.
like creating that first PR, people might not think they could do it, but yeah.
I'm proud of
I
you.
hope I hope
Well
Johnny
done.
Trouble was working on some PRs while eating that pizza. And again, Jason, thanks again for the kind words. And
Yeah,
yeah, definitely
definitely.
happy to do this. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll love to do stuff for the community. That's the whole thing. And I just wanted to, I forgot to say that, but as a DevRel now, I really want to talk to people who don't like our documentation or who don't like our project. Like, this is the most important, most valuable feedback. So if you want to just tell me how much everything sucks, please, I want to hear that. Be nice about it, but let me know. I definitely want to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure Tim does as well.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Thank you so much, Tim. I hope you still have dinner with your folks. I'm going to have dinner with my folks. And
Yeah.
thanks everyone for tuning in. And obviously, you can see the recording later on YouTube and wherever. And yeah, have a
Yeah.
great one.
Thanks a lot.
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.